Salve mates, I hope everything is covered in Tuscan sunshine at your end. I will come you with a video where I'm gonna play the devil's advocate by making you look at things from a different perspective and defend one of the emperors whose legacy has been totally tarnished. Commodus. Now Commodus is remembered as one of the Rome's worst emperors, a madman, a gladiator, a narcissist who abandoned his duty. But when you actually look at the evidence, the story is far less simple and fair. Let's start with the accusation that Commodus abandoned the Marcomannic War territorial gains that his father had made and withdrew from Bohemia just to leave for city of Rome to consolidate his rule. Aside from the fact that many emperors did that as well, what's rarely mentioned is that Marcus Aurelius did the exact same thing just 5 years earlier. In 175 AD, Marcus abruptly interrupted his northern campaigns to deal with the usurper Avidius Cassius. Marcus chose internal stability over conquest. Commodus did the same. Another common claim is that Commodus didn't care about ruling, but ask yourself, why should he? From the very beginning, Commodus ruled under threat. Before he had any chance to prove himself, his own sister Lucilla was involved in a plot to assassinate him. Legions in Gaul mutinied when he became an emperor, and the same Avidius Cassius rebelled, not against Marcus Aurelius' rule, but against accession of Commodus, believing mistakenly Marcus Aurelius had already died. So this wasn't apathy, this was a young ruler inheriting an empire where people already wanted him gone. So Commodus appears to have collapsed under the burden of emperorship and chose indulgence over responsibility before the inevitable end arrived. His childhood didn't help either. Marcus Aurelius was intensely conscientious, almost obsessively so. From the age of 16, Commodus was designated for duty, named Caesar, and later made co-emperor. There was no normal youth, no space to develop outside the shadow of a philosophical giant. And consider this, out of 13 siblings, only 5 survived childhood, Commodus being the only surviving son. This kind of childhood doesn't produce stability. Modern pop culture didn't help either, because the film Gladiator permanently damaged Commodus' reputation by portraying him as an overly ambitious son who murders his father, unwilling to name him heir. And historically the opposite is true. As I mentioned, Marcus Aurelius desperately wanted Commodus to succeed him. He elevated him early, shared power with him, and passed over other capable men to ensure Commodus' legitimacy. Meanwhile, Commodus showed little enthusiasm for ruling at all. So let's talk about the madness. Yes, Commodus eventually declared himself Hercules. Yes, he renamed Rome after himself. Yes, he fought exotic animals, humiliated the Senate, and behaved like a total tyrant. But here's the key point. This behavior occurred mainly during the last year to year and a half of his life, not his entire reign. Commodus ruled for 12 years. The extreme behavior people associate with him lasted a few months, not a decade. And renaming cities after yourself? Renaming the capital is a little over the top, but Constantine the Great did it with Byzantium, and went that far that he even stripped monuments from Rome to glorify his new capital. Spending money on bread and games? This was a standard imperial practice, especially early in a reign. And when Commodus did it, Rome remained stable. His direct successor Pertinax immediately tried to cut the spending, and he was murdered instantly. Commodus, for all his flaws, understands one basic truth of Roman politics. You rule mob with the money and spectacle. Finally, there is this overlooked detail. Commodus was rehabilitated after his death, Septimius Severus restored Commodus' memory, deified him and presented himself as his successor. If Commodus had truly been nothing but a monster, Severus would have buried him, not resurrected his image. So, in conclusion, Commodus was not a good emperor, but he also wasn't the cartoon villain history turned him into. I would say he was a reluctant ruler, raised under immense pressure, surrounded by conspiracies, betrayed very early, and remembered almost entirely for his final collapse of his mental state. Rome didn't fall because of Commodus, Rome survived him. And that alone should make us question whether the story we have been told is really the whole truth. So mates, this is my take on Commodus. I'm not here to tell you what to think, I'm just playing the advocate, the devil's advocate. And I try to create some new perspectives. You are not only the audience, you're also the judges. So let me know if I manage to nudge you in a direction where you have more understanding for Commodus. Or maybe my arguments weren't good enough and you still think he was a crazy maniac. Anyway, let me still know in the comments. Stay strong.